Hello there, beloved saints. I wasn't able to upload the Daily Dose at 7 this morning, but I waited because I wanted to tell you something more personal. There's quite a few new people on the channel, so many of you don't know my history. I will give you a very short, rundown at the moment because there's a point I want to make here. Now, uh, around 20 years ago, a little less than that, I was assaulted in LA. I lived out there over 20 years. I worked in the movie industry in Los Angeles, California. I was a successful independent film producer and did independent financing, produced the films, and then had distributors, got local um, distribution as well as foreign distribution on my movies. And I was good at it and I loved it. And before that, I would do occasional acting roles, but I was mostly behind the camera and went in front of the camera for union insurance because you have to make 15,000 at that time, 15,000 per year through the union to qualify for medical. And at that time, we did not have a producers guild that provided it. So I would give myself acting roles or other producers or directors would put me in the film and then I just take a portion of my salary from the union, deduct it from my producer's fee. And that's what I did. But that was a hectic lifestyle. It was a hectic lifestyle to keep up. When I'm wrapping up post production on one film, I'm in pre production or trying to raise funding for another. And it's a constant hustle, and there's a lot of egos and that you got to juggle. And it's basically a miracle anything gets done. And it's just a stressful life, but I loved the art of it. I love storytelling that way. It was what I loved in my life. Now, when I started this channel, it was just telling my testimony. I didn't plan on doing any of this. I didn't even know what I was being called for. I was so confused. I heard a few messages real clearly, and one was I was not to go to seminary. So I spent years in the Word with God and elders and pastors and bouncing things off of them. Do you see this? This is bizarre. I was taught something different, but I see this here. Is this right? And just through trial and error, still growing and learning, like all of you. We will continue to grow and learn. So that is what happened now. Right at the it was a tough time going on for me out there. I was assaulted, had all kinds of trauma from past. So I'm not going to give you my whole life. Uh, I will redo a testimony, but I have some of those. I think Sin City Preachers Channel or Church of the Eternally Secure may have it. I know Talking Doctrine has a very sincere testimony that was difficult for me. So if you go to that channel, you can see my testimony there. Um, but the part I'm going to focus on is this attack that happened to me. I was heavily into heroin. I had a celebrity, a child star, was living with me for about 6 months, and he had just gone back to Canada for a little while, and it's early. I don't like to talk about this part, but I got beat up really bad. I was drug off the side of the street by my hair, drug all the way across broad daylight. People witnessed it. I screamed down 911. They laughed, and I'm going to tell you what they said. So I was like, okay, I'm on my own. There was a guy driving, a woman in the front seat, and another guy. One of them in the back seat had grabbed me by my hair, dragged me across, threw me in the back of the car. So I fought to get in, of course. And you can see the scar here right in the middle of my forehead. I have a lot of scars on my face where my face was bashed into the corner of the car door to get me in there. And so it was weird. I had blood running all down my face. I had a tank top. It was ripped completely off, so I was exposed. And I start laughing like a lunatic. But I don't know what had it's shock or something, but I was just like, oh my gosh, you guys like picked the wrong person. I'm not gonna go quietly. This could be bad for you. Like, and the girl thought I had some kind of devil in me or something because I'm laughing with blood running down my face. But I was in shock, and I was not going to stop fighting. Like, if that is not going to stop me from fighting for my life because you bashed my head in, it's just going to make me mad. So I get in the car. They pull up to a stoplight. Now, right next to us, cop car, two cars behind us. And I managed to kick the guy in the back in the throat to reach over and get the door ajar. So I'm halfway hanging out the back of the door, and the cop sees me with blood all over my face and my shirt ripped. And he comes out, and all of a sudden he pulls his weapon, and I look and I realize everybody's jumped out of the car and started running. So they took me to the hospital, and that was that. Now, I healed up, but I was eventually sent back after I was in the hospital. I was sent back to the East Coast. Somebody called my sister and said she's not going to live. If you leave her out here, she's not going to live. She's gone. And I was out there doing dangerous things. Um, really didn't help my drug addiction at all. And I came back. Well, that year I worked really hard to not use the and so forth. And that was a process. I needed some medical assistance because it had been years. And like less than 2 years pass. Okay, I didn't know this, but MRSA stays in your bloodstream for 2 years. I wake up in the middle of the night. My son is born at this point, and I can't move. I have the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And I had some bad stuff as a child. I was sickly as a child in Children's Hospital King Daughters. And had lost a lot of hearing in one ear from cellulitis and mastoiditis, which means I had an infection in the bone back here in my skull from my ear. It was very, very dangerous. I could have died because it was, near the brain. So I wake up and I can't move this right leg, and there's a pain running from the inside thigh all the way to the foot and my whole backside. It's just so painful. I can't stand it. I can't even move my toe. So I'm crawling, and not crawling, but like crawling on my elbows, pulling this leg, dragging it to get milk for my son because he's awake and he wants to drink milk. So I get rushed to the hospital. They can't figure it out. There's no broken bone, but they don't want to do a CT or an MRI because it's more expensive. So they just send me home with something, and I'm back again in a few days. It's worse. It's worse. Okay, this goes on for 3 months. Tears streaming down my eyes, begging them at some point, cut my leg off. I can't take this anymore. Finally, after 3 months, over and over again, being told I'm a liar, just wanting drugs. I was like, dude, if I wanted drugs, I'd get drugs. I'm not coming to the doctor, you know? Anyway, it was really hard, guys. Really hard. My whole life has been turned upside down. I'm just a mess. New mother. Now I'm being called a liar again. I'm trying to keep it together. And I lost a lot of hope. Like, it took, I don't know how I'm still here. I really don't. And before that, I had already been close to it. You can see on my wrist. I been through a lot. Did not, didn't think I was going to make this. So I end up in the hospital several times. Then the MRSA spread. They find out your kidneys are in failure. So they put me in. So I'm in full kidney failure. They find out an abscess had grown in my right thigh muscle. Over those 3 months, they wouldn't believe me. It had spread to all my bones, all the joints, and the cartilage had been eaten out of my sacroiliac joint on the right side. It had spread everywhere. I had septic arthritis now. So that's where the pain's coming from all over. On top of it, osteomyelitis. It's where your bones are infected. My bones themselves were infected. Full kidney failure, complete sepsis, put in ICU. I'm not going to live. They're telling me I may or may not have a leg. And to accept, at this point, I'm like, I told y'all. I told y'all there was something serious. So, no, I'm not going to break down now because you want me to. And I went into prayer and I said, God, my God is bigger. And they were just like, okay, well, blah, blah, blah. Well, keep on. Because at this point, I came through all this. I believe God's getting me out of this. So this went on and on. They scheduled me for dialysis. My dad had survived throat cancer. So he had a stoma, a hole in his throat. While he's going through that, his wife was dying of cancer. They had to remove both kidneys. She had one kidney left. They had to remove that one. She died a horrible, slow death on dialysis. So I said, God, I don't deserve life, but I ask you for my father's sake, don't let him see me die slowly of kidney failure. Please just take me, let it be done, but don't let him see that. It's a long, drawn out, ugly thing. He can't handle it. He had already lost me as a child. They told my mother the day I was born and my father, she's not going to make it. I had lost over a pound overnight. I was 4 pounds. And my brother died as a baby. They had already said their goodbyes to me. I didn't realize how bad it had affected my father. I knew it had messed up my mom. But he was holding his breath my whole life. Scared that I'm going to die because I was sickly. And that's where, when I got older, I was in the martial arts. I was healthy and doing all this. And then I got stupid and messed around, and you know what we do. And so it was bizarre, but I was in the room. They scheduled me for dialysis for the next day. And two black guys I never met came into my room that night with some handwritten prayers, prayed over me, real sweet fellas, and said, one of them had said, yes, I called your room at 3 a.m. 3 times last night, and it was the wrong room, but you were so sweet, and I woke you up a sick person, and I just thought you were on my heart, and you needed prayer, and we wanted to come here and pray for you. I was like, okay, thank you. So they prayed over me, and that was that. The next day, they're scheduling for my dialysis. I'm ready to go to start dialysis, bummed out. And so they have to draw my blood before to see what the creatinine level is. The creatinine was starting, I don't know what's good and what's bad. I remember it was 2, and then 4, and then 8 or something. Anyway, by the third day, I had full kidney function back. My kidneys were working that morning before dialysis. And so they said, oh, wait a minute. The nurse said, wait, I got to go tell the doctor that she has kidney function. It's not great, but they're working. Something is happening because, they'd put me on no salt. Hospital foods, the worst. But with no salt diet, it's even worse. So they had, done that, but they were like, I don't think that would make her kidneys start working again, because we're not talking they weren't working well. They weren't working. There was no function. My mouth smelled like ammonia. I'm not trying to be gross, but the pee was completely clear. Nothing was being filtered through my body. Nothing. Like water. So they postponed the dialysis. They kept checking the blood every couple hours. The next day, it had doubled in its ability to function. By the third day, I had completely normal kidney function. Whew, no dialysis. So there's that. Told I wasn't going to walk. Okay. Told, because they had to cut, I don't know if you can see it, a third of my right arm off up top. And I do have it on my channel. This is amazing. If you could see what it looked like, and you can because it's gross, but it's up there. If you go on my channel, you'll see it says warning graphic. It's a short video on there. It'll show you my arm that they cut. There was nothing left. You can see bone. You can see bone and some skin back here. That's it. There was nothing left of the front. They put a wound vac on, told me I'd need a couple of skin grafts. I said, no, I won't. Yes, you will. I just kept arguing with them. Okay, we'll see. Now, for 8 months, everything healed except one little spot. It took months for this tiny area because it kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking until it got to about this big and it would not heal. Finally healed. All but this little spot. That took a few more months for it to finally close up. No skin grafts. None. Just none. And I have full use of my right arm. I do have neuropathy, of course, nerve damage on this hand. And I have chronic pain, but it's livable now. It's managed by a group of doctors. I have a whole team that helps me with that. And I've gotten better and better, and I've even stopped some meds, and it's wonderful. So, my point is this. I didn't get a full healing. I still live with the after effects of it. I could and was tempted to be angry. And I could even use it to hate people. There's no way I'm able to not do that other than the Lord. So I look to Him and I think as He was dying, they mocked Him. Yet He sincerely said, forgive them. They know not what they do. I have no right. If God manifest in the flesh forgave those that did that to Him, what right, a sinner, do I have to condemn another sinner? I am not worthy to be judged. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I give it to Him. So I wanted to tell you, I've been through some stuff, but it's not forever. Even when doctors are telling you it's forever, He has the final word. Not saying you won't go through anything. The Lord warned us. Life is short and full of trouble. You better believe it. But there's a key to this, and it's being focused on Him. And I say all the time, sometimes what we're going through, it isn't even about us. It could be for a bigger purpose. Look at Joseph. It was to save millions of people. He was falsely accused. He was sold into slavery, then did a brilliant job for his boss, and his boss's wife falsely accuses him because he won't, be with her and break God's law or betray his master. So what does he get for it? Prison that he didn't deserve. So I often wonder, how did he go through that? One thing, he's sold by his brothers, innocent guy. Then he's accused falsely and thrown into prison. Works his way up to be head in there as well. But God had him there because Pharaoh was going to need him. And he became the second most powerful man in the world. Elevated from prison to the second most powerful man in the world. Only Pharaoh was above him. God was doing that, not just for Joseph and his family, but for so many. So it wasn't just about Joseph. It was about the lives of many. He gave him the wisdom to prepare during an upcoming famine to save many, many lives. So, God gives us tools. This godly wisdom He gives us in His Word to be able to get through these things. And we're told to look to Jesus as our example. But also in Hebrews, this cloud of witnesses that witness the glory. They witnessed the promises, and the promises didn't even come in their lifetime. But they believed God so much. Many lost their lives just for the hope because they believed God so clearly. So we can look to them too as examples, but most of all to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. But I want to read this little thing to you in Philippians 4. Finally, brethren, and I've said this many times, but I really want you to see it. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. We're so willing to hear bad news all the time. Think on the good. And I tell you guys all the time, I remember I was in so much pain and I had lost everything I owned, all my cars, all my money, all my career, everything, my looks, you name it. I was thinking of things to thank God for, and there wasn't much I could get pleasure, but cold water was one of them. I thank God for cold water. I would go outside and thank Him for the beauty of creation and the moon. Thank Him for the people that are alive that love me. I thanked Him for the people that love me that aren't here. My pawpaw, you know, my grandparents, just the people that have been good. I thought on those things, not on the things of bad things people did. And if you continue, it says, those things which ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me do. This is Paul. And the God of peace shall be with you. But I rejoiced in the Lord greatly, that now at the last your care of me has flourished again, wherein ye were also careful, but ye lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned, in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. That is why that verse drives me nuts, because so many people use it for their worldly aspirations. I can do all things. Well, yeah, you could use it that way. But Paul is saying, you know what? This world is flawed and it's unjust. And sometimes we go through things, and sometimes we have a lot and sometimes we have nothing. I can be hungry. I can, whatever. I know God has me. So I'm content because I belong to Him. If I'm going through it, God's not panicked. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to say, Father, you're my Father. You know what's going on. I can't see, but you do. So I will trust you. I'm still here. So, all the things we worry about, very rarely do they come to pass. Think on good things. You're always going to have a reason to be upset, miserable, feel unjust, bills are high, work's stressful. It's always going to be that, okay? It's temporary. Do not give it the power to rule your day, your joy, to steal your joy. When we can find joy and peace in spite of our external circumstances, that's what knowing God's all about. It's like, how can you be okay with it? Because He's okay. He's got it. I know it's hard because we walk by faith, not by sight. But whenever we're in a position where we're like, I don't know what to do, be quiet. Be still and know that I am the Lord. Talk to Him. It's a relationship. We talk to people that know us and we know. Talk to Him. and be willing to hear in a way you've never heard before. I get most of my answers with a verse. I'll get a section of a verse or just a picture in my head, and then I'll have to find it or a word or something, and then I realize there's my answer. But there's so many people suffering right now. I want you to know, no matter what it is you're going through, you're not alone. And as much as I want to be there for everyone, I'm just one person. I'm nothing special. But we have a community here, brothers and sisters in Christ. We need to reach out to each other and find someone you trust and talk about these things. But look to the good things you have. Look for the things that you can thank God for, because I can't count the number of verses about entering into his presence with thanksgiving. We should always come first thanking him for what he's done for us and the good things we have. It gives us a spirit of gratitude, even when things are painful. Okay, guys, I just wanted to share that with you. I know many of you haven't been here uh, as long, and I wanted to put that picture together for you because I wanted you to know it wasn't easy, and I get it, and I do my best to live my faith. I'm a flawed person, and I do not preach Renee. I preach Jesus Christ crucified and risen for the gift of everlasting life. All of us are dead in trespasses and sins. Dead. So the wages of sin is death, and he paid that wage for every one of us. Death has been defeated. That's good news of the gospel. He rose, proving we put our trust in him, we will too. So we all need life restored to us. So we can put on immortality, and this terrestrial body goes to the ground. We get a new one. I'm going to be doing a video on the promises, what happens after we leave this physical body, all the promises that come with that. Okay, you guys. I'm sorry it was a little late today. Had a lot of doctor's appointments this week. All right. God bless you. Bye.